Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Good evening and welcome to the Orville review show or rewatch show or whatever we call it. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, we're going to be watching today season 2, episode 3, which is titled Home. But you know what the best part of this podcast is? It's the people that are with me. That's right. And of course, we have the producer, the producer extraordinaire, the man himself. Oh, I guess it's David Mater.
Well, Jody, I'm touched. And thank you for such a warm and kind intro. I can't wait to get this going here tonight. You know, it's going to be an amazing chat.
It's going to make you feel like you're home.
Some great people, as you said. You know, let's go. Yeah, here we are.
There's some great people here. And me. All right. And of course, we have the man who waited in line at Comic-Cons to get some nice autographs over, what was it, the weekend? Yeah, I guess it was the weekend.
Yeah.
All right. That, of course, is Mr. Kevin Millard.
I think you'll find I'm much less prone to flattery than Dave, much
Yes,
less susceptible.
It's really hard to pick stuff for you. And I don't want to call you cynical again.
No, cynical is what you meant.
Cynical is what I meant. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway. And back from the West. The man. The guy. The Atom.
So what happened, guys? Did Jody go to the mirror universe when I was gone? He's so nice tonight.
I think so.
It's the drugs.
I don't know.
Anyway.
He hasn't had the goatee in a while, but he could be mirrored.
Well, I did shave.
Yeah.
You see, I'm not evil Jody. I'm now prime timeline Jody. There you go.
I like it.
All right. Well. Anyway. And as I said, we're looking at episode 3 of season 2, which is Home. And this is basically about Alara. This is an episode really focused around her and her family, really. We don't get actually a lot of the Orville in this. It's mostly done on... Is it actually Saleya that it's called?
Saleya with an
Saleya.
X.
With an X. There you go. So anyway, what do we think of this, boys? Kevin?
It's good.
You liked it?
It's all right. Yeah, it's fine. I guess.
I didn't like it as much, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I like Phlox as a bad guy.
That was definitely primo for sure.
I always like Robert Picardo. It's fine. It's not blowing me away or anything.
Yeah.
No.
Fair enough.
I don't even think they're trying to, right? They're like, no,
I don't think this episode is supposed to be the blow you away.
I will say I do prefer this as a goodbye than to just randomly killing the character.
Oh, that comes in season 3.
So we have on the Star Trek the next character on Tuesday nights here on this channel. We do the Star Trek: The Next Generation podcast, of course, and we haven't gotten to the episode where Tasha Yar leaves the show, but that's coming up soon, and she will be killed off in quite sort of.
That's like a 30-year-old spoiler.
What?
I'm sorry, I had to. It's I don't know. Like I think this is better, of course, as to Kevin's point, but I was sort of like, why are you going? It doesn't make sense. I don't feel the need for her to go back to her family here at the end of the episode. I don't think to me, like emotionally, it doesn't quite stick.
She had a breakthrough with her father.
Yeah, but
good time with them
but
now.
the whole episode proves that like she is who she is and her skills and like what she's doing is what she's meant to do. And then they give her and then they give her this way out. You know, I think it would have been more better. Like I could have gone back, but I could, you know, because of this condition, I can't. But they invent a way to cure it, which I think is cheat. Maybe that's the part of the writing I don't care for. I don't know. I think there's just a different way to do this that I think would have been a little stronger emotionally, a little more punch at the end. But overall, I enjoy the episode. I'm with you. Like John Billingsley's really fun as the villain. I think that they're menacing as these murderous revenge.
Especially
parents.
when he first pulls out the phaser, all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, what happened here? You know,
right?
So that was.
And then
good.
you have to remember, all these people are incredibly strong. At least in our gravity, they would be. And you know, it's like, but they have sort of just petty squabbles and drama like anybody else. And you know, so anyway, that's my take. Sorry.
Did any of you guys really like Alara? Like in the seasons, we want to be what? How many episodes? Whatever. 1 season and 3 episodes. Have you really loved her?
No.
You got into her?
Not enough that I cared that she left.
No. I could maybe get to love. I don't know. Like it's a little strong of a word at this point.
Have you enjoyed her as a character?
Yeah. Like really. Yeah, like I wouldn't mind if she stuck around on this cast. I think she fit in. I think there was a good dynamic here.
I like the not this replacement in this episode, but I like the replacement.
The replacement for her is much more fun.
Yeah,
she's a very different kind of a character, and I don't mind that we got her. And you know, but it's, you know, I think that if this character had stayed, I wouldn't have been sad either.
I think you know, on this show, like there's a lot of weird like storytelling and things that just don't make sense, and having a 20-year-old security chief doesn't make sense, even if she is a Slan. And the other thing I like to say about this episode, I did really like the Phlox and the Picardo, but I really liked the can flattening and the legs breaking. I thought
well, that was fun. You know,
that was fun.
Just from a science fiction kind of standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff. Well, maybe you guys will turn me. I'm like, for this episode right now. So we'll see.
And it was a bit of a twist. I mean, you know, when you see John Billingsley, you think Phlox, and everybody's fun living little Phlox, and nope, not in this episode.
I think the first time I watched this, what really stunned me when she leaves the show at the end of this episode was that like we spend this entire episode investing in her character. Right. And like her family, like they set up her parents. Now we meet the sister. We get all this stuff on this episode. And it doesn't feel like in any way this is the episode where she should leave the show. It doesn't fit. Right. It feels like what? She's going? Like, you know, it feels like, you know, no, I wanted to invest in this character. I was getting to love this character, you know, as much as I love all these characters in their ensemble. And, you know, she leaves the show here. And I just don't know if it fits for me narratively. It's sort of out of the nowhere. We get it. And it's sort of, okay. But I guess that's the randomness of life as well. And I guess you can throw that sort of spin on this. And all I can say is that's what you got to do. She's leaving.
This guy in chat.
Well, they did date. And I have to wonder, is she leaving because they broke up? Or is there another reason?
Oh, I'm sure there's another reason. But who knows?
But Davin's got that, you know, he's got his take.
Yeah. Davin's got to be in here. Sam says you're absolutely 100% right, Dave. Which, you know.
That's a theory. Like, I don't know, it's hard to prove, but you know, it's a possibility.
All right. Well, what do you say we just start looking into this? Unless Adam has anything to say, because literally Dave just took up all of Adam's time. But
no, I said what I had to say.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm good.
I'm just trying
I have to defer to whatever Adam thought on this episode as well.
No, the thing is that I didn't really buy into her character. I'll recap my little point here. I didn't buy into her character. I didn't think she was that strong of a character. And
is that
I think he's pulling that out of his ass. Can we get a fact check on that?
I'm doing a fact check on that.
All right.
Because that's highly speculative. I think.
Yeah. I don't know if you can back that up with anything, but Adam's gonna get to the bottom of this,
but I guess I did suggest it earlier in not such a nice way.
Well, maybe that is what happened. I don't know, but I don't think that would be the case.
No, I think she just wanted to do other stuff, and wanted to leave the show. And she's moved on. She was successful after the show. So
honestly, I don't care.
Yeah,
that is exactly where I am. Really. But I want an honest, factual podcast. So we got to get the facts anyway.
Well, she got sick. Her body couldn't handle the gravity. That's why.
Well, that's true. If you can't handle the gravity, you got to leave the show.
But they give us this, answer for it at the end. So it's sort of like, okay, then it's hard. I don't know how to feel about it by the end of the episode.
Yeah. Well, Davin just keeps bashing McFarlane, so we don't need to keep showing his stuff. Right.
He says at the end of the episode, guys, if your job will be waiting for you anytime you want it. But then they get the replacement for her. And what if she did want it back? And then the old one's there and it says, no, this is my job now.
Well, she ends up later on joining.
Okay, so here's the answer to this. Okay, let's cover it now. So, in truth be told, neither Fox nor the show creator or the executive producer, Seth MacFarlane, have given a clear reason to why she was written out. And Sage Halson seems largely in the dark as well. When she was asked why she chose to leave the Orville in 2019, an interview in 2019, it wasn't about a choice. It was what was best for the show at the time. So the standard answer.
Is that in quotes? The chose to leave.
So yes. Realistically, Davin could be right.
Well, sure, but that's speculative. Alleged.
It is speculative.
It's alleged. It's alleged. It's a big.
Anyway,
alleged.
You know what isn't alleged? The screenshots we have for this show, and let's
all right. Okay.
All right. So we start off in the mess hall, whatever you want to call it. It's not 10 forward for them. It's
called the mess hall.
It's like 20 back or something. I don't know. But anyway. And then we see Isaac walking in.
Why is he coming? Why does he even come in here? He doesn't even need food.
Well, he still has to socialize.
It's arm wrestling time.
But it's also arm wrestling time.
All right, fair enough.
And Dave, whenever it's arm wrestling time, you got to show up, man. It's part of pride, right? You got to make sure you're there.
It's highly McFarlane.
Speculative. But anyway. But it turns out that the crew have been running this illegal gambling type thing where they get Alara and him to arm wrestle, and whoever wins is obviously the winner, and that's the bet. So people bet 2 and 4. But anyway, so he's like, yeah, let's get you in here. We have Jason Alexander again.
Now I know it's him. So yes. It's better.
Yeah. So
I forgot.
I didn't know it was him the first time. Now
that's true. Yeah. The last time we talked about it, he didn't know. But anyway. So they end up doing the struggle. We got some interesting aliens here.
This guy with the 2 eye. What he's a cyclops, but he's not a cyclops. He has 2 eyes.
It's like a guy from Total Recall.
He's a super cyclops.
This guy has broken Dave's brain. He's like, there's 2 eyes, but it looks like a cyclops. I don't know what to do.
What do I call it?
It's like a duplex.
What do I call it?
And upside down ears.
Everybody in the chat, we need a good name. We need a good name for.
I'm so happy.
This super cyclops.
I don't know. I'm like, okay. I guess he's happy. He's happy being this weird 2 eyes. Like,
well,
I have 2 eyes
all
too.
Bald, or is this just middle age?
Well, his earlobes are drooping, so I'm gonna go with old age.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the fight remains, and basically Isaac wins, and it turns out he breaks her arm, which is interesting for somebody who that shouldn't happen to.
Well, but they said that they had done this like 30 times, and it was almost like 50-50.
Yeah, like he won like 9 times, and she won like 8 or 10 or something. Yeah. So it was it's pretty thing. So anyway, she goes into the sick bay, and apparently I didn't bother to get any more screenshots of this, but basically her and Claire have this discussion about how essentially her bones are weakening, as well as her muscle mass is leaving her body. So at this point, she's basically becoming frail, at least in the standards of this. So, but anyway, so we got her title card. which is home, obviously. And we get the kind of the sit down with all of them. This is where Claire kind of basically says, well, the only way you can really fix this is to go back to your home world. I think Claire was just trying to get rid of her personally, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe?
No.
No, you don't think so? Well, I thought she was trying to get rid of her. But anyway. So then we see her kind of working out, and she's got like, massive amounts of weight going here. Or at least that's what we're to believe. And then she basically says to Mercer, like, I used to do 100 kilos more than this when I got here. And, blah, blah, blah. Really.
Her main thing is like, she's like, as security chief, my main thing is that I have to be like the best fighter or something like that. But is that, I guess that is a big part of the job, but I don't think that's exclusively what it is. I think he's kind of correct that,
well, I don't know. Worf was a big, strong dude, and he barely ever fought anybody. He just ran at people.
Well, you're the top, you have your underlings, your red shirts,
Well, she does too. And that's what even Mercer says, is like, why don't you just stay here? We'll get you tons of people and we'll call it.
Yeah, you'll just delegate and, whatever.
But I guess her worth in her eyes is the fact that she's strong.
Right.
But
no one would respect her without it.
Yeah, nobody would respect her because she's young. So
they would resent her or pity her, they said.
Yeah. So basically Mercer says, okay, well, whatever. I guess we'll go visit your homeworld. Right. So anyway.
But he also says, like, it doesn't matter if you're not strong, but he wants a Salean security chief after this.
Yeah, well, he gets another one. So it's,
I wonder why. Why would he pick Salean?
Gee, I wonder.
Remember, they're incredibly rare in the fleet. So the fact that he's able to get
there's now 2 and both of them have been posted to the same ship, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's statistically that's impressive. Yeah, so he's
well, it's the only one of the ships with a TV show.
True.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
they get the priority.
That is definitely a priority. All right. So anyway, we see some nice external shots of Saleya.
The prettiest planet in the Union.
It is the prettiest planet in the Union, according to Gordon. And it is it's nice to look at. We see her in her I'm going away clothes. She's getting ready to go. So they end up putting her in a shuttle with Mercer and Gordon. And they basically fly down. And we get some nice externals as well on this as well. We get to also see this the planet, very futuristic, very cyberpunk.
The gravity shield that they need.
Yeah, the gravity shield, which we'll end up seeing in a minute as well. But basically, they fly through all this area, which looks a lot like what a future Earth would be. So it's really similar.
It's cool. It was really cool. Like I enjoyed it. It went a little long.
I think the fly down was a little long here, but
that's because Gordon loves this planet.
True. It's true. He was just touristing it.
100% joy the entire time they're flying to and from this planet.
That's true. Yeah,
he absolutely loves it. He's most beautiful planet ever.
Yeah,
in the Union.
But anyway, they end up landing in front of Alara's childhood home, I guess it is. And then we see Mercer put on the suit, and this is obviously a suit to counteract the massive gravity that they have here. And we also find out that it only works for about an hour, realistically. And then here we can see how the gravity shield was extending out, which I thought was kind of cool to see that. And then we see Alara, in Earth's gravity still within the field. She's standing, no problem. But the minute she walks out, she falls to the ground. And then you see Mercer come out as well and try to help her out. But they're having a hard time with her. And basically, they say, okay, well, we'll take her inside kind of thing. And now I thought this was a lot for him to just put on this suit just for this like 10-second interaction that they had.
Correct.
Like why bother? Why don't you
just to set it up for later so that they don't have to explain.
They don't have to explain the suit in the heat of the moment. Maybe. Yeah.
Like when they get to.
I mean, he's also, telling her parents how great she is, and he doesn't care.
He could have done that from inside the field.
And you saw, and the thing that always bugged me about everything is you see Gordon in the background and he's like right at the edge of this field, and I'm thinking
they could hear him if he wanted to say something.
If the dude trips down the ramp or something, he's dead. Like it's instant crush, right?
Like even if like his little like a part of his finger goes outside, it would be crushed.
It's gone. Yeah, it's gone. And some would even say that, let's say his hand went through the field, well, his hand could pull the rest of them in, right? From
Also,
right, because it would, the gravity, right?
Yeah.
Also, 2 people. Why not 2 suits?
Someone's got to man that field. Someone's got to watch the ramp.
Right. Because that field fails, Gordon's dead, right? Like,
and then we get this cute little scene, which was pretty funny, where he takes the beer bottle, which for some strange reason, Gordon always seems to have a beer bottle in hand.
He needs a morning beer.
Yeah, he needs that morning beer, and he throws it at the field, and it just instantly collapses to the ground.
He does a lot of things to keep himself relaxed.
Well, it's a stressful job, like it is the thing. So anyway, we see Alara, and they've given her this chair.
Okay, so
Professor X style.
Dave,
yes.
A couple weeks ago, we did the podcast on what was that episode? Next Gen called with Admiral Jameson.
Oh, Too Short a Season.
With the stupidest wheelchair ever. This one is fantastic.
That's true. That is true.
That wheelchair cost $10,000.
$10,000.
And it didn't even work.
And it wouldn't even move.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
But anyway, we get introduced to her family. Well, reintroduced to her dad and her mom. But this is the first time we see her sister, I believe. And her sister's pretty excited to see her as well. I have to admit, every time I see him with this outfit on and this gear, I'm just like, wow, what World of Warcraft expansion did he run out of? He just looks so crazy.
I thought it was an interesting choice to bring the sister into the episode too, especially since it's her leaving the show. And, like basically it's taking up more screen time that they could write for the mom or whatever.
Well, I think the whole point of the sister was because the sister could empathize with her better than her parents could. So it was like, I think that was.
She was like the kid, the type of kid they wanted, right? Like
she was the perfect kid, and then
academic, and was marrying a Salayan guy, and was
exactly,
making them happy and everything, right? And so,
but it's always nice to see Robert Picardo here, for sure. And we get a couple alumni in this episode, which is nice. But anyway, they're kind of having their little lunch, I guess. The 4 of them, or maybe this is breakfast. I can't remember. But either way, we end up. It ends up going to nighttime. We see her in her, I guess, childhood room, which is the most sterile childhood room I've ever seen. Like, no wonder why she's fucked up. Like, she's like, it looks like she was brought up in like an insane asylum or something. Or
I think it just goes to the point is her parents couldn't wait to clean her out. Like, when she's moved out, let's clean that.
Well, yeah, but she does mention that they've left the room pretty much the exact way it was when she left.
Okay.
So I don't think they really.
Maybe there's just some bad lighting. I don't know if it's that bad, but
but basically they have a discussion about how essentially, she's back now, and he's trying his hardest to make sure she doesn't leave again or go back to the Union, because he really despises any sort of military type situation, which we don't really get a reason as to why he doesn't like military, do we?
I think that this is an intellectual race. They just want.
Oh, okay. So it's just a matter of that's right, because the sister later on mentions like there's 2 kinds of people basically.
Yeah, well, that's what she says. That's her claim, right? Or they want to be like each other. But yeah, I think this is an interesting dynamic to add to their species, and to like it gives them a whole different dynamic than they're just from the gravity world, which could be more one dimensional. But
could be a lot of things, but they also mentioned, I guess earlier they mentioned that they're going to go to their beach house. So I guess everybody on this planet's rich as well. But anyway, they start buzzing. I did like the look of this little like transport pod thing. I thought that was kind of neat. I also like the fact that the wings kind of come out and then it goes back into like a little pod type thing later, which is kind of cool. So we see the 2 of them, and she clearly is not excited at all to be going to the beach house. And everybody else is just kind of boring in this thing. But we end up seeing, as they approach the beach house, we get to see the beach house. The mom and dad are very happy, but the two in the back don't seem to be all that excited, which kind of reminds me of every road trip I've ever dealt with my kids. So kind of same thing, but at least they're not buried in their phones. I guess that's probably a good thing. Now, does this house look familiar, guys?
No.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Adam will probably tell us why later.
Is it the Weekend at Bernie's house?
No.
No.
Okay. That's my best guess.
I'm actually surprised you don't know this, if anybody doesn't know this, Dave. But anyway.
Did you know as you watched the episode, though, Jody?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Well, not originally, obviously,
yeah.
but on this rewatch, yes, I did. The minute I saw it, I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, that'll perplex Dave now for the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ponder that.
But don't worry, Adam's got the facts.
Okay, let's get to the end, Jody. Come on.
All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. So anyway, we see. Don't rush me, Dave. I'm trying to torment you.
I need to get to facts.
Anyway, we see that they meet up with their, I guess it's their caretaker. I can't remember his name. Doesn't really matter. He dies later. Spoilers. But anyway, that's the caretaker.
Like Tevis or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Who cares? But then we see this animal, which is supposed to be, I guess, some sort of like horse kind of hybrid thing. Or at least the body is mostly horse, and then I think they CG'd everything else on. But
yeah, it's like an alien.
Either way,
horse thing.
It's kind of neat to see.
Sure,
I thought it was all right. They kind of she's petting him. But anyway, and then we get into the sunset where Alara basically
doesn't this dream sequence come up next?
Yes, that's what's about to happen. Yes,
we gotta get to that.
We're getting to that. We're almost there, Dave. Like, settle down.
Dave's so excited now.
He's now excited. He wants to know where this house is from. It's gonna plague him for the rest of the episode. But anyway, yeah. So the basically we see her kind of sitting on like the edge, and then all of a sudden she goes into this daydream where she's riding one of these horse things, and she's got like this like massive gown thing on and massive hair.
What the hell was this? Like, it was so weird. She's not wearing her makeup. She's not even her Selayan self here. She looks human. She's got human ears. She got earrings in. It's like
shit. You're right. I never even noticed that.
What the hell was this?
I don't get this. Anybody got an idea? That's a no. All right.
We've stunned the paddle, and I had to go back and watch it twice to go.
It's a dream.
It's a dream of what? That she's human?
She's dreaming to be human?
But she's still riding this thing from her planet?
I don't know. Anyway, she was clearly dreaming. And then she comes back in. Or no, she's going towards the door, and then she realizes that there was like a light
down. But they're supposed to be the only people on the island. It's a big mystery.
Yeah, they were told earlier, which doesn't really make much sense. Like, who cares if there's another person on the island? Like, what does it matter? Like, there's other houses there. What's
Tevis? What he knew. He was like, no, there's no one else here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Off season.
At this point, he could be dead. But anyway, so basically, she's like, I thought he said that there was nobody on this thing. Oh well, blah blah blah. They don't really think anything of it, and they're like, we're going to bed. Now, I thought it was interesting that she's like, well, I guess we're ready for bed, and he still has half of a drink left. And she's got about half of a drink left. It's like, couldn't you guys at least finish your booze before you went to bed? Like, you know what? That's just bad booze etiquette. But anyway.
How do you know it's booze?
Yeah, it's probably booze. They're at a lake house.
It might be like intellectual elixir or something.
Maybe it's prune juice. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I'm assuming it's booze. People don't serve normal drinks, and like, you don't get prune juice with a slice of their version of an orange on it. So I think they were being festive.
Okay.
But anyway,
so anyway, at the beach house.
Yeah, she's at the beach house, and they're on like a vacation kind of thing. So they're trying to get away from it all. And you see basically her just staring up into this massive glass structure that apparently is over her bed. And then we go back to the Orville. We find out that they're getting their temporary security officer, which, if you remember, I was talking about the elephant guy. This is the elephant guy I was referring to. But anyway, Bortus is like, yeah, the new guy's here. You wanna meet him? Yeah, okay. And then they send him in. And this is Patrick Warburton, right?
Yeah, from Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld and
Other things.
Doubles.
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 I didn't plan that, but it worked out well. But anyway, but he's a really I don't even know what to call him. He's not really gross, but he's like
annoying.
It's pretty gross.
He's kind of gross. Yeah,
He's obnoxious.
He's very obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he like talks like he's like a goofy hand puppet or something. Like it's so weird. And then he's like, "What's that thing?" And he's like, "Oh, that's Kermit the Frog from my planet." And because they got to pay the Disney money.
Sick. He was just
He's like sick. He's like a surfer elephant man,
which immediately makes you not like him because anybody who does that is
and
unlikable.
this last scene as he leaves, and Mercer's just looking at Kermit like, what the fuck? Like, what is this guy? So anyway, we go back to Alara here, and she's trying to get up and she doesn't want any help. She does the usual person who's in the wheelchair who wants to walk thing. Don't help me, blah blah blah. And she tries it. Doesn't work very well, but kind of works. And then we see these two neighborinos show up. Of course, she looks familiar, but I don't know who she is. But I say that
her name's Carrie O'Malley.
Carrie O'Malley. Okay.
She was in I don't know, some other roles. I don't know.
So she's an actress, and we're back.
She's an actress, but nothing huge. Like
okay, fair enough. But obviously, John Billingsley. Excuse me. Which without the makeup he's still like, every time I see him now, I picture the makeup on him as Phlox. Like I don't know why, I just do. So it's like Phlox is at their door. But basically he's really sweet looking dude, but he's like, yeah, somebody was rummaging through our house, and we just got here today. Did anybody see anything? And Lara's instantly into detective mode, because part of her job in security, I guess, is to become a detective as well, which I guess to a degree you kind of have to be, but usually they have other people for that. But anyway, so they're like, she's like, oh yeah, I saw a light there yesterday, blah blah blah, and they're like, oh okay, well whatever. And she's like, I want to go have a look, and did they print? They look for prints and stuff like this. And she's basically telling what the cops should have did, I guess, because they called the cops, or their version of the cops, I guess. And she's like, oh, I'll go investigate. And she's like, okay, well, the sister decides she's going to take her with her because, dad says it's too dangerous to go because in her shape and all that. So anyway, we go back to the thing, and we have Mr. Obnoxious here. I don't even remember his name, and I don't care because he's gone after this. But well, actually, no, I think he's on the next episode too. But anyway, he shows up and he's got like basically like Swiss char or something, but he says it's a stew.
Tharl.
Tharl, is that what he said? Tharl?
His character's name is Tharl.
Tharl, okay. Who cares? So it's like Carl, but with like TH on the front.
Right.
All right. But anyway, he's got this, which appears to be just a plastic Ziploc container or something full of what looks like very overcooked Swiss char. But anyway, and he's just slopping it down, but like, it's just gross. And even like Bortus is like, wow, you have no manners. Basically, and everybody's just kind of looking at him while he's like,
Yeah.
Like,
he had two esophaguses. He has a redundant esophagus or something.
Yes. So he basically eats, and then it goes through his nose right into his belly, essentially. So he has his own umbilical cord for himself.
Right down the tube to Tummy Town.
Right down the tube.
Did you guys also like when he said that his former captain had a professional boner for him?
I forgot about that, but yeah, that was interesting. And Mercer's just like, if you want to take like 15 minutes, you can go to the mess hall and eat. And the guy totally is not getting it. And everybody's
I like to power through my lunch.
Yeah, I like to power through lunch. Yeah.
Right. Seems like you probably shouldn't do that, but
yeah. But like, how does this guy even like breathe correctly? Like,
there's a reason he is a former captain.
Yeah. I think everybody is his former captain. I do like the makeup. Like, it's very interesting, but also kind of gross. And
I would get tired of looking at him.
yeah, well, yeah.
I think that's like what they were going for. They're like, give me an
Yeah.
alien.
just nasty enough. Yeah.
Just by looking at him, you would just be tired of looking at him in time and would wish
Yeah.
you didn't have to see him.
So at this point, is this where they decide that they might have an idea or something?
Yeah, they're cooking up the solution to give us at the end, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So they end up. You see these guys, and they're going towards the cabin that had the light on, which seems kind of creepy that the people that live there wouldn't be with them to go into the house that was just recently broken into. Like these two could have been the ones that broke into it. And you're literally sending them back to like get rid of evidence and stuff. Like this didn't make any sense to me.
This is just to give us a reason to have these two have a conversation.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because they have a little heart to heart here.
And this is them. They're doing their like the Hardy Boys thing. They're doing the detective thing. It's a mystery.
Now, I will say, I think these guys are on a different tax bracket. This house is not anything like the other one. But anyway,
location.
It's all location. But you look at it though, it's not a bad location. They don't seem to have any beach, but it's still it's got a great view.
It's a little modest.
It is a bit modest, yeah. Which further leads me to believe that
but wasn't this was Tennis's house, right? Not his, not. Were they trying to find? No, this is the neighbor's house, not Tennis.
No, this is the neighbor's house. This is where they saw the light.
Okay, because they eventually find Tennis's things, right?
Yeah, well, that's where.
Yeah, this must be his house, not because this is where they find his things.
Right. This is when they figure out he hasn't left. I feel like they were coming.
You might be right on this.
I think they were coming to see him.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? I think you were right. Okay, I totally missed the mark on that. But yeah, okay. So they're at Tennis's house, and this is, they end up seeing like all of his stuff. He didn't leave, essentially. So then they come back, and now they're having some sort of dinner, and they're having dinner with these people, which I don't remember their names, but it doesn't matter because they're badass. But anyway, so they're having their mint juleps, I guess, or whatever.
And they're bragging about their kids.
Bragging about kids, yeah. And they apparently have a son. This is where things get extremely creepy all of a sudden, and it's I think he did a great job here.
This is one of the best turns ever. Like
I love
I love the with your hand. Reach into that boiling soup with your hand and spoon that out.
Yeah, so he's got this sauce that they're going to be putting over their dinner, and he's cooking it, and he mentions earlier that it has to be brought to a full boil. And then it has to be kept at a boil while he pours it, basically. With that, and then he basically says, well, first he mentions that the ladle looks like it's dirty or something like that.
Yeah, does look.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I have another spoon somewhere around here. And he's like, nope, just do it with your hand. And the guy's just like, what? But this is definitely. This gets into like misery territory pretty quick. Like it's pretty brutal, and everybody's just looking. And I think what's interesting is the wife, or whatever she is to him technically, she doesn't really react right away. Like she looks like she's like kind of like dumbfounded as well. Like what the hell's going on?
Oh no, we're really doing this? Okay.
Yeah, like but we find out it's because she is in on this and she gets it that they're doing it right now, kind of thing. But at first, when you first see the scene, though, you think she's as shocked as they are. Like, what the hell is he saying? Kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, she gets up, pulls out a gun, points it to them as well. And these phasers are they're kind of neat. They're kind of basic, but they do the job. I like them. Except for the little slut in the middle. That's just stupid, that little slot thing there. But anyway, so he ends up putting his hand in the thing like he was told, because I guess he's trying to save his family from being shot by the mediocre phasers. But anyway, so he puts his hand in. We can see that he's, obviously scalded himself. But I like the fact that he holds his hand over the food anyway, and he still pours it out into it. It's like, at this point, do you really have to go with that part?
Oh yeah, he's pretty pissed.
It,
Like
it would have been better though if Billingsley like literally like started eating it.
Eating it, yeah.
That would have been great. But anyway, so they're all like, "What the hell?" And I like how the sister is looking at Alara like, "You should do something." Basically, well, she's like, in a wheelchair right now. But anyway, so they move into the living room area, I guess, and then he basically starts talking about. I can't remember exactly what he was talking about, but essentially, it turns out this is a revenge plot to get back at the dad because the dad discredited their son's medical work and he ended up committing suicide or something.
Yeah, it's about vaccines and like
Oh,
discrediting.
we're not allowed to say suicide on YouTube, are we? We got to say ended themselves or something like that. I don't think
I've never received a notice of anything.
Well, I don't think we say the word that much either. But anyway, but basically they're sitting there and they're kind of chatting about this. And it turns out that, this is the reason why they're going after him and tormenting his family because like, does anybody kind of get a Cape Fear kind of vibe on this one?
Very much.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one that saw that mediocre.
I think we're alone now.
I think we're alone now. But anyway, that would have been awesome if that was in this. But anyway, yeah, he's got quite the red hand there. But anyway, they end up. I unfortunately couldn't get the phaser shot, but basically he shoots the vase there, which I don't know what the vase ever did to him.
It's a good picture though, Jody. You got everybody wincing.
Everybody's wincing. Yeah, we got the wince, but anyway, so he's not having any of this bullshit. He just wants what he wants, kind of thing. Now, other than to see him suffer, what are his actual demands here?
They also want the retraction.
They wanted the retraction. That's right. Okay.
Right. But then they're like, once you give us the retraction, like, well, Lars says they'll kill us, right? So don't do it. So he's like, okay, well, there's a stalemate. But then they're going to start cutting off the sister's fingers and everything.
Yeah, they go get you have a very nice lawn or a very nice garden or something, he says. And then all of a sudden she comes in with the pruning shears.
Like they went pretty dark on this stuff, right?
This went like super dark all of a sudden, yeah. But I think this is supposed to give us like the reconnection with Alara and her family kind of thing. Like she was so worried about them and all this crap that ended up being that. But anyway, so she sets up the webcam, which apparently is just a piece of plexiglass, but still pretty cool. But anyway, he's got the gangsta gun going on here. He's got the little like side cock going on. I thought that was kind of neat. But anyway, yeah. See this stupid little slot here? This thing bugs me, and I don't know why.
Well, it's a ray gun.
It still bugs me. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, but he plays this so well. I would like to see a feature movie with him as the bad guy.
Sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to see that. But anyway, well, I don't know if you'd want to do it now, but maybe. But anyway, so basically they're like, oh, next up is the daughter. We're gonna take her fingers off. We're gonna take them all off until you agree.
Like Legend of Zelda vibes with her.
She really does got the Zelda thing going on, doesn't she? Yeah. But anyway, but she basically breaks down. Oh, did we lose Adam? I think we lost Adam.
I'm here.
You're here, just not in video. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, his video's frozen. Can I just say this is my favorite comment ever?
Dinner is
lunch. Which I know what he means, but it's still funny.
Oh, I think Adam's coming back soon. But anyway, we're hoping.
I like how we're hearing his like.
We can actually hear the like USB disconnect thing. But anyway, so yeah, she grabs the shears and he's like, fine, blah blah blah,
Start cutting off fingers.
She's like, start with the little one. So she goes to do this, and then all of a sudden, the alien dropship shows up. Oh, I mean, sorry, no, this is the shuttle from Orville. Looks like that though. But anyway, so they end up showing up, and basically Alara's like, yeah, the Union's here, and if the Union's here, you better leave because that's going to be a problem. And sure enough, it's just Mercer, because again they failed to bring more than one suit. Like, imagine what this whole conflict would have been if there was more than one person.
Well, it's interesting to me that like the Solans are a member of the union, and like they still
they seem to hate them. Yeah.
Well, and they seem to have these limitations in terms of visiting there, right? I guess it's much easier for the Solans to visit other planets, so that's probably what they mostly do. But...
Well, they end up being super powered on other planets.
Right.
So they're just normal people on this planet.
Sure.
But anyway, so we see Mercer coming to the door. He ends up talking to the dad, and basically he's like, I really need to talk to Laura, the comms are down, blah blah blah. And he's like, she's sleeping, you'll have to come back, blah 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 blah. And he's
but
like,
you can see like the bruise on his face, and
he's clearly already had some sort of and on top of that, is he hiding his hand? I don't actually know.
He is hiding it, but the bruise alone is a big giveaway.
Yeah. Like, why is he bruised, and why?
Mercer's not the the sharpest knife in the drawer here.
He is definitely not the brightest bulb.
No.
Yeah,
it takes a while.
But I think that's the whole point. Is he's not the brightest bulb. But anyway, so we end up seeing Alara. She's looking down at her legs, like, maybe I can move them this time. But anyway, so Mercer ends up getting shot. And he does this face, which I just thought was funny, so I had to grab it. But he's like, oh. He's probably thinking of the dude that's the new security officer. He's like, God, he's disgusting. But anyway, so then we see whatever this guy's name is. He's coming out to look at Mercer. Well, we'll just call him Phlox, yeah. But he's not really Phlox in this. But anyway, and then we still have the rest of them at gunpoint. And this is where Alara basically jumps into frame, which was extremely hard to get a picture of, by the way. So I got her fighting with her. Now, the one thing
what I find interesting here is no one joins in. This is the only person. This is the only gun. Nobody joins in.
There is 3 people that can easily overpower this woman, but the 2 of them sit there on their asses. Well, Alara's sitting there, the one who probably shouldn't be fighting anybody.
But this is perfectly exactly what's wrong with this society. They don't. I don't do physical.
Yeah, well, shouldn't that be equally true for like John Billingsley and his wife? That why are they like have all like these like?
Well, because they're evil, Dave.
Okay, and that
the evil people get to do whatever they want on this planet,
and they become powerful in terms of.
I guess they would have to be
physical fighting and whatever. The madness, the grief.
So basically, at this point, Mercer is pretty much incapable of going anywhere because the suit is starting to fail. So he basically can't move around too much. There's still
Gordon has to tell him that.
Yeah, Gordon has to basically tell him that. Yeah, you got like 3 minutes left. You should probably check your gauge there. It's like you'd think there'd be an alarm or something, but anyway. But maybe it got screwed up with the laser shot. But anyway, we still see them fighting, and of course, the 2 useless assholes sitting on the couch are still sitting on the couch. But anyway, then we see. He basically figures out that there's a scuffle going on. He goes to go towards it. And basically, he takes a shot at Alara because Alara is now going after him. Because I think at this point, she's already killed the other one, right?
Well, I don't know. Did they die or did they just get stunned?
Well, maybe it's a stun. I don't know.
Unclear.
Yeah, unclear. It doesn't matter. I guess. But anyway, so she gets a shot taken at her. She kind of jumps out of the way. But the one thing I do have to give her credit for is if you actually look closely during the scene, she's hobbling around and kind of weaving back and forth. So they really did a good job of like showing like she's not stable. Like she's trying her best, but she's not stable. But anyway, she kind of runs back in, closes the door and locks it. He just shoots it, which is apparently the major issue of all future locking systems. They can be easily just shot, and that's the end of it. But anyway, so she starts running around her house, which, by the way, they are obviously on a different tax bracket. But anyway, like
also they are in a like a GO station underground, or
if you look at these concrete things,
it's a beach house, guys.
This is a beach house in the underground. But yeah, this is clearly reused from somewhere. But anyway. Even like these, like who would have these glass panel side things in their house? Like, come on,
the GO station.
The
GO station would have that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in LA.
So she takes the shot.
Yeah, he shoots at her and then she shoots back at him.
Yeah. So anyway, but then you see Gordon. Gordon's like, how the hell am I going to get this guy back into the ship? Now, this guy is an expert when it comes to shuttlecraft. Could he not just like back this fucker up into him?
Well, that was
Extend the
what
shield,
Excellent point, Jody.
that's what Jane said. Jane
or like
wanted to-
extend the shield.
She thought he could back it up and like
just kind of
scoop up
slide him
and-
on just enough
and
that he can grab him.
right into the field. Right,
Like he's in a spacesuit. It's not like he's going to get hurt too much. He's already
I
been
was like,
shot
I think
anyways.
that's a pretty tricky thing. I said to do, but maybe
Dave, you know. Yes,
Not for someone who can hug the donkey.
Yeah,
that's true.
this guy can hug the donkey, Dave.
he can hug the donkey. He can scoop the
And that is with morning beers.
yeah. He probably could do it, and that's what Jane wanted him to do. And if she was given the orders to Malloy, this is what would have happened.
Yeah, it's not really not thinking too quickly on your feet there, buddy.
Well,
Well,
that's the problem with morning beers.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we see all of them. They've now gone up into like the upper level of the house. So I guess where Alara is, as well. And basically, he can see Mercer, and we still have what's his name, Phlox.
John Billingsley was like the Terminator. He was shooting through doors.
Oh
and he's
yeah,
killing-
this guy's a badass. But anyway, and as I said, every show has this problem where these locks are just instantly, they instantly stop when they get shot at. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's fine. But anyway, he goes in here, and basically Alara has already said to her dad, like, you got to get down here. You're the only one. I'm about to lose it. Like, I'm not gonna be able to.
Or one of the other two people that are uninjured could have gone and done this.
I guess women don't do that on this planet. But anyway, so he ends up seeing him. He's about ready to kill him. And this is when Alara comes out and takes a shot at him, takes him down. Now, they were clearly missing the point where they could have shot him to the point where he went through the glass. They didn't do that. That was kind of irritating.
That would have been more like a lethal weapon moment where
it would have been awesome.
You say like diplomatic immunity, and then you get him right.
Diplomatic immunity. Yeah,
that's what this really demanded, but they didn't have enough time.
They didn't have enough time. True. So anyway, he falls off the thing, and he lands. And this guy, like, let's be honest, he's having a bit of a day. Like, it's this is like number
but he
one.
also has to get to
First
Ed.
he finds out his daughter hates him, and then all this shit happened.
Not only that, though, Kevin, there were like serious dishwasher spots on that ladle, and that is a bad thing. What can you do? But anyway, this is when he finds his groundskeeper guy.
Tennis,
is that his name?
I think so.
Tennis,
It is
like the
now.
sport?
Let's-
Anyway.
Sure.
Well, could be worse. He could be called pickleball, I guess. But anyway,
It's a jar of pickleballs.
yeah, there you go. But anyway, so Mercer's got 31 seconds left, and whatever this guy's name is, he tries to pull him towards Gordon, who
Just
is
saying,
clearly
someone
just
with
standing
two
there.
working hands would do better.
Yeah, like anybody, or even the two of them could went and just easily moved him. But what can you do?
Saris,
Saris, is that his name? Saris?
Yeah.
All right. So Saris ends up taking him towards the thing just enough that Gordon can get to him. And then basically we see that the suit starts failing, and it literally the field goes off and just collapses just does a clean break. It's brutal. And I have to admit that was fun to watch, even though it probably should have been.
Phlox had already murdered Saris. Can we all mourn Saris for a moment? We thought his name was Tennis for most of this podcast.
All right. Saris.
I'm going to continue to mourn tennis and pickleball.
And pickleball.
Yeah. Oh, this is where his legs were breaking. This was maybe my favorite part.
Yeah, we just talked about this a minute ago.
I was catching up.
Yeah, clearly.
I was learning his name.
He's on delay.
He was on delay, yeah. But anyway, so he brings him into the thing. He's like, yeah, no, he's gonna live, but we gotta get him back to the ship. So, Gordon basically takes off. He's like, fuck them. They can all deal with their problems. I'm taking my captain, which is probably what he should be doing anyway. So anyway, he goes back up, and then at this point, they go. She comes out, has this touching moment with her dad. Basically, I guess he kind of just, for the most part, kind of ignored her accomplishments. because it wasn't an intellectual thing for him.
So the only way you get my love, really, is what he's saying, is that if you save my life.
Yeah. He's still
This
a shit dad.
This whole and
Yeah,
garbage.
This part sucks. Yeah,
no, there's no realization here. This is awful.
Yeah.
Ham-fisted nonsense.
You
Well,
guys
the
didn't like
interesting thing
this?
is, like, this part of the episode, we're still like 15 minutes left in the episode. So I'm like, okay, well, something better happened that's better than this.
And
what
was the relationship with the mother? Like, was it good or not? Because I don't think we ever got
know.
I like, that's why, like, why do we even need the sister? I was like, why you could have had more time for the relationship.
The
with
sister
the
talks more than the mother does in this episode.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, like, I felt like there was just
But basically, the dad breaks down and says, like, now I have to give Picardo credit here. The dude really can do a cry face like nobody's business. Like, he does a really good one. But he basically says, I wasn't a father to you, and he has this realization, which I think is just the adrenaline talking for the most part, because he almost got killed. So, plus his hand probably hurts a lot. There's probably salt in that, eh? What do you think about it? Could have been salt in that sauce. That would have hurt. Anyway, Alara's like, "Oh, it's okay, Dad. We'll get better." Blah blah blah. So at this point, there's still like 10 minutes left in this episode. So you're like, okay, something cool's gonna happen. Maybe Dad dies or something, or something like that. And at this point, we just get the explanation on what they're gonna do to make her condition go away, essentially. And then Claire comes in and she's got a smirk on her face and she goes, and it's going to be really painful. I'm like, maybe that smirk shouldn't have been there.
And look at Kelly's face too. Ooh, look at that.
Kelly's like, pain. I like pain. Yeah. And she's like, that sounds fantastic. So then anyway, we see Mercer in his ready room, office, whatever you want to call it. And basically Alara comes back again, and she basically says, I'm kind of sorry, I'm going to leave anyway. I know you guys went through all this trouble, but I'm going to leave anyway because my dad needs me and he now loves me, and he didn't love me before. That's pretty much the generalization of this.
That sucks.
This is stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with Kevin on this. This is dumb. But anyway.
This was Dave saying this was dumb.
Oh, okay.
But I still like this better than her randomly dying.
I would agree.
Yeah. At least
isn't there another option? Comeback. There's a third option, something completely else.
Well, she could make this episode better.
She could have come back to the ship.
You die or you reconcile with one of your parents. That's it. Those are the only two options you have. I think Dave's right. I think there's many other ways they could have done this.
Or no, I think Dave, I think you're right though. Like, they should have just had it. She can't leave the planet. She just can't leave. She's not. Like, she's going to be one of the ones.
Like,
she's going to be one of the ones that doesn't recover.
Yeah, if there was,
they all say their goodbyes. That's a nice end.
Yeah, if there was no cure and she had to stay on the planet to survive, then that would have been fine too. I actually would have liked that better.
It would make more sense.
It's not as happy, I guess, but
this wasn't happy. This was like, no, my dad needs me. Why? What? Like,
why does your dad need you? He hasn't needed you in the 20+ years you've been alive.
Or she's like, I'm going to be a maid of honor at the wedding coming up, so I got to.
It just saves travel. I don't have to come back. Right away.
I think they thought it was important for it to be her choice, of course.
I guess.
But I don't think that's as satisfying as an ending. Much on paper it sounds like it is, but I don't think in
how this also feels like this should have been an end of the season episode. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel right to do it in the.
I feel like this whole first part of the second season is a little disjointed, right? Because they had this episode from season 1 that we watched last week that they kind of stuck in. This season 2, they did the first episode was kind of just a rehash of the finale, which didn't, as we've talked about, doesn't quite feel like a finale. Doesn't quite feel like
it just feels like an episode.
Doesn't quite feel like a season premiere.
It's not a bookend, yeah.
Because they're like, no, it's just on streaming. People are just going to keep going, and it's not going to matter so much if the seasons have.
Well, and that's one thing we have to remember. This is a series that was designed to be streamed, right? So, like, this is a pure streaming season. Which makes sense.
And as far as we know, like Halston Sage didn't did she decide to leave the show on her own, or was she written off?
It sounds like she was written off.
The show, Dave. It was for the good of the show.
But she also says for the good of the show, which leads me to believe that she knows more than there is. Maybe the good of the
It
show is
sounds
that
like
two
the
of them break up.
relationship broke up and she left for the good of the show. I think we can maybe all see.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Something
So
that
maybe
happened.
maybe Davin is right, but don't tell him.
Well, did she get fired or did she leave? I guess
Oh, she didn't get fired. I don't.
It wasn't a choice, she said.
Well, then she's fired.
But that does happen in series. Like they going in, they knew that they were only going to have X amount of episodes.
If you're
It
gonna
sounds
get
like she didn't.
fired, I guess it's better than the Tashiar firing. So
Well, Tashiar couldn't handle it. She said she didn't.
She
want to do
came
it.
back though. Didn't she come back in season?
Tashiar did quit technically.
She quit.
know,
Yeah, she
different
quit, but then she came
circumstances.
back as a special guest every so often.
It's not like Denise Crosby was dating Patrick Stewart and then it got weird.
Or
I bet
worse,
she wished
Gene
she did, though.
Roddenberry.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole other problem. But anyway, so yeah, Mercer basically says his goodbyes. He's like, yeah, there's always a spot here for you, but just disregard that later on because I'm going to get somebody else. She's going to be a little bit older than you. Same race, though, so it's fine. So, but anyway, so she ends up leaving. She does give Mercer a box, which we don't see until later on. But anyway, I like the fact that they take this ship almost into the atmosphere. They're like, yeah, we'll just park that puppy right there. No problem. And actually, when you see the shots later on, like just past this, you'll see that they're actually fairly close. And it looks like they've put the ass end like pretty much right near the planet. But anyway, so she thinks that like nobody's in the shuttle bay to see her off or anything, which would make sense because she can't fly a shuttle. So there's got to be at least one person there for her, which would be Gordon in this scenario because nobody else can fly these things. But anyway, so everybody kind of comes out to wish her well. They have this kind of little like hug session where everybody hugs her kind of thing. She even hugs Bortus. She doesn't hug Isaac though because Isaac is fake, so it doesn't matter.
But here's where I think that they did better on Next Gen when Tasha left, when they did the funeral scene.
Yes.
In the holodeck. I thought that was a better, like while it wasn't a good story and why they got rid of her that way, I'm not sure, but it was a better goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this isn't the last we're going to see her on the show.
No, I know.
She's not really dying. So
she's not dying. Yeah.
I was pissed. Where was Dan?
That's true.
They had been on dates together.
I don't even think I saw Dan the entire episode.
He wrote a poem for her.
He couldn't handle it. He can't handle the boss.
Yeah.
Right. So he's in his quarters.
And I don't know why she's so happy with Claire here. It's like Claire like laughed while she was telling you that she was going to cause a lot of pain to you. Like maybe you shouldn't be so nice to her. I don't know. I'm just saying. But anyway. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so they all see her off. The traditional everybody stands there and stares at her as she leaves kind of thing. And then she ends up taking off in the shuttle. The shuttle goes down. He comes back. He sees Kermit, but then he also sees the box. He's like, what the hell is this box anyway? I never even opened it. Which to me is kind of rude. Like if somebody gives you a gift and then they're going to be leaving, she didn't say you couldn't open it right then. Like you should have opened it to praise her or something, But anyway. What can you do? But anyway, he opens up the box. He gets a smile. I was hoping they wouldn't actually show us what was in the box, but they did. And it was a jar of pickles, which obviously is kind of his little line with her every so often. What
would have been awesome is if he had tried to open it and fucking couldn't.
Yeah, like there should be a scene of him just like going
wrestling with it.
Yes. And then he's like, Bortus, can you come to my room, please? Yeah.
No. The guy with the schnoz there, the new guy.
Yeah, let's see if he can open this fucking jar.
No way.
I've never been able to open these things. I'm wondering if these are homemade. I don't know if they are. They have no label, so
Seems replicated, probably.
Probably replicated, yeah. I guess nothing comes out with the things. But anyway, that is, gentlemen, the episode, as they say. Final thoughts before we get into our fun facts.
So can you go back in the pictures right to the beginning when they first landed in front of the first house, not the beach house? It's actually the beach. It's the first house.
That's gonna. Yeah, hold on. How do I get this thing back? There we go. All right. So, we'll just start right at the beginning. All right.
There, that one.
Okay.
That's the house. So this house, guys, is actually the same house that was used in Starship Troopers, Johnny Rico's house.
Of course. Rico.
And both sets of parents disagree with their career choices.
They don't like the military. No,
but that's the only way. That's the only way you matter, though, in the Star Trek or in the Starship Trooper universe.
This is a house of someone who does not approve of the military.
But anyway,
That's right.
oh look, we still got my screen here. We should browse the internet. Anyway, but yeah. So overall, I think you guys have changed my opinion on this episode a bit, but we'll talk about that in ratings. But guys, there's something that's far more important than that, and that, of course, is fun facts with Adam. Yeah.
Someday I'm going to wear a coat and a shirt and a tie just like that.
I think you should. I
will.
Should.
Let's get down to business.
Fun facts.
All right. The home planet, Zalea, is actually pronounced just like the name of the place where Spock undergoes Fort Faltorpan, the refusion at the end of Star Trek 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mount Zalea.
Mount Zalea. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Must be a nod.
So Ildis tells Captain Mercer they got far superior doctors on the planet than on the Union ship, likely a nod to the fact that this stars Robert Picardo and John Billingsley, who both played doctors on the past Star Trek shows.
Right.
I'm Dr. Phlox, the ship's physician.
Yes.
In this case, I'm a psycho.
Yes.
Patrick Warburton, Lieutenant Thrall, is a frequent collaborator in Family Guy, as well as Ted and Ted 2. Alara's sister Solana stands out as the only blonde among the family of dark-haired individuals. Halston Stage, Alara, is actually a natural blonde who wore a wig for the role.
Covering up this blondes. Trying to keep us down.
Yes. There are actually 3 guest players from the Star Trek universe in this episode. So Robert Picardo, John Billingsley, and where I want to say here is it Dr. Flood. Okay, this does not include Penny Johnson, who is a regular guest on Deep Space Nine. So there's 3. Oh, and then Seth MacFarlane was on the episodes too. So they've had 4 Star Trek alumni in this episode.
There you go. 2 from Enterprise and one from one and one from the other.
Yep. Halston Sage's final regular appearance on the series is Alara, and consequently the last used version of on the opening title sequence. It was in this episode, of course. And this episode parallels Next Gen, which we alluded to many times in this podcast, of having the first main character written off to be the female head of security. And that's it, man. There's not a lot in this episode. I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm a little underwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think the big highlight was the house.
The house, and we didn't. That was actually we did that before the segment. Really,
I can talk about the house if you like a little bit.
Yeah, tell me about the house.
The house is called the Henman House Residence. It's at 33583 Mulholland Highway in Malibu.
We should go.
It's valued at $8.3 million US right now, and most recently sold at $7 million.
Sounds like a nice place to go.
Yes,
it sounds like a place that Dave wants to go anyway.
So I guess somebody who has 7 million bought it, but
actually 9.2 million it sold in 2014.
$9.2 million.
Appreciating.
That is crazy. Anyway, let me get the ratings up here. Just give me 1 second. I wasn't ready for everything, apparently. All right. Time for ratings, gentlemen. All right. Is that big enough, you think? That's 125. We should probably make it a little bit bigger. All right. Let's do that. All right. So, home. We'll skip me. Adam. Actually, Adam, do you have a ranking for last week?
For Primal Urges, I like that episode, actually. I'm giving that a good... I'll go with Kevin, 8.5.
8.5. All right. So what about this week's episode?
For me, just because it had Picardo and Billingsley in it, I'm going to give this an 8.
An 8. Okay. Dave,
and I like the can being squished and Mercer's legs being broken.
Not exactly the takeaway I think they were expecting, but okay.
That was cool. It was good that they handled the. There was a Star Trek book I read one time about how Sulu and Chekhov were captured by Orion pirates, and they were controlled because the Orions have a higher gravity that they kept on the ship, and they kept getting them to do stuff by increasing the gravity until they their bones were about to snap.
Oh,
So
okay.
this was illustrated perfectly in this. I get it now.
All right. There you go. Dave, what about you?
7.5.
7.5. All right. The one that I'm really wondering about is Kevin.
Yeah, it's a 4.
4.
4.
I started with it was pretty good.
That is, yeah, pretty good. It's. I realized. No, as we started to talk about this, I was just like, "There's nothing to say about this episode."
Well, even there's no fun facts, Kevin. There's no fun facts. We had to talk about a house.
Like, I enjoyed just the performances of the actors that I like. The rest of this is actually terrible.
So coming in, I was thinking a 4. I've actually gone up a bit, but not much. I'm going to give it a 5. So that gives us a combined average of 6.1. Clearly, we know who are the two that messed that one up.
Adam and I. This is our Gary.
Kevin and
7,
me
I
maybe
guess.
have brought this down. IMDb, as of this episode, has a current of 8.1, which gives us a combined average of 7.1, which means it's not as bad as the first episode of this season, but it's almost there.
Well, it seems like most of the audience likes this episode. Only you and Kevin are the haters.
I came into this.
I'm a hater. I'm just indifferent.
I came into this thinking 6, and then we started talking.
Yeah, because you were at the beginning. You were like, "Yeah, this is oddly, a good episode."
Dave, you're the one that brought me down the most.
Uh-oh.
It's true. I did.
What did you do, Dave?
You know what? I might have to lower my rating.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I was skewed by Adam's 8.
Do I need to move it?
I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it down to a 7.1.
Way to stretch there.
Go
Dave.
the whole 0.5, Dave. Just go to 7.
We'll go to 6.5. We'll go to 6.5.
Oh, do I hear 6? Do I hear 6?
Yeah, we'll leave it there. I think
I am not moving at all. Like
I'm gonna down my down a little.
In this episode.
All right, now that I've gone through all of that, and Dave has now changed his thing, our average is now 5.9, which gives us a combined average of 7. So
holy moly!
Yeah, we.
This second season has had some ups and downs.
Well, Kevin, Kevin, let's look at your scores: 2, 8.5, and 4.
Yeah, and a 10 there, another 8. Like
no. Season 2, I'm talking about.
Well, if we look at the averages right now. I'm
so
far.
Yeah. Like so far, Adam's averaging 8.3 for season 2, but you are averaging.
So I'm close. It's had an up and some downs,
which is interesting because Kevin in the first season was actually the highest out of everybody. So
yeah, this second season is so far not blowing
not
me
as
away.
much fun for him. All right, well,
Jaloja was just fucking awful.
Jaloja wasn't so good.
That's all about him. It had some interesting scenes in it, but
that was all about him peeing, and then there was the other one about him going to the holodeck, which was more interesting. But then you get this, which is kind of sad. What comes next, Jody?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, Dave. It is Nothing Left on Earth Except Fishes, which is Ed finds himself behind enemy lines while he crash lands on a mysterious planet. Kelly questions why Gordon wants to take the command test. So there you go. So we have two.
I vaguely remember this episode, but
to be honest, I don't remember it. I know it's got the what do they got? The lizard people. Krill? Yeah, krill. It's got the krill in it. I know that, but past that I don't remember much about it.
I think it starts with what's his name? Ed dating that krill woman that we don't know was a krill woman yet. The new crew member.
I don't think that's this episode. I think that's later in the season.
But they kind of set it up in the previous episode, right? In the first
that's
episode.
True. Yeah.
Right. That's how it ended.
Anyway, the good news is, guys, next Monday we'll have the answer to that.
A dark matter cartographer.
Ah, there you go.
The dark matter cartographer. Yes.
The dark.
One job. One job.
Not only that, it seems to be a fairly like a job that you wouldn't need to be working all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a brand new job.
Yeah. So, what can you do? But you know what? Just because we don't have a winner this week, guys, doesn't mean we don't have a winner on some other episodes from some other podcasts. Like, what's happening tomorrow, Dave?
That's right, Jody. On tomorrow on Next Generation, we're going to be talking about what is our episode tomorrow? It escapes me at this moment. We're doing Home Soil tomorrow.
Home soil.
Yeah,
Ugly bags of mostly water.
Ugly bags of mostly water. I think I got Adam, Davin.
Oh, I am on. Okay, good.
I believe so. Did I
good.
not confirm with you?
No, but I'm happy to be there because I watched it.
Good.
I can't remember which one Home Soil is.
Oh, and Jody.
Oh, I guess I better watch it then.
Go-Go in it from James
Jody,
Bond.
you're supposed to be there too.
Oh, well, I guess I'll have to be there then.
It's ugly bags of mostly water. We spoke. You did not listen. That's how they talk.
I totally don't remember this episode.
They're killing people.
I think once I see like some screenshots from
Davin seems excited for it. I want to put that out there.
Is Davin on?
He's on. He's supposed to be on. Yeah.
Oh,
You know what?
But he's getting married on Wednesday. This time for real. And
are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that doesn't instill confidence in me.
Well,
you already said he was going to get married and he didn't.
Margin of error.
That's a big margin of error. But anyway. But the good news is, Dave, even if you're wrong, you're right sometimes, just like a broken clock. All right. So anyway,
twice a day.
At least twice a day. Yeah. So there you go.
But yeah, tomorrow we'll be talking about that on the Next Generation podcast. Check it out here on this channel.
Yeah. Is there anything else Live Long and Podcast is going to be coming up on their way?
That's right, Jody. I'm glad you asked. This is coming up this Saturday night. We got a Star Trek Radio Theater coming at us. We got Adam Woodward is Admiral Nakamura, and he's Ensign Tyler. Will he be putting the moves on Geordi LaForge, played by Justin Velociraptor? Watch out for this. Kevin Millard might get a straw out of his head. In his, he doesn't like the damn ringing. But it's all going to be.
I can't wait to hear Adam's Ensign Tyler. I can't wait. We're
doing Star Trek Next Generation's episode Phantasms. If you can't see the graphic, but that's what's coming up. Jeff Mader, Sigmund Freud.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that accent. That'll be something. All right. Well, there's a lot of stuff to see on Live Long and Podcast, but of course we have other channels which we'll show at the end.
Yeah, Lower Decks 2 coming back soon. Well, looking for that.
Yeah,
and I think there's some kind of a Debate 9 this week here on the channel, I believe, or something like that.
I was asked to be on a team thing, but I don't actually know.
There's nothing actually scheduled as of right now.
Okay. I was requested to be on a team with somebody.
Yeah.
But
Davin asked me to launch a probe sometime this week, but there's he couldn't do it. So I don't know. I think his time is tight this week.
Are you sure it wasn't sexual innuendo?
He is getting married this week. So,
yeah, that's probably what it is. He forgot he was getting married.
He's going to be doing his own probing.
Well, I suppose. Yeah. So, anyway, that's all I got.
We wish the newlyweds well, of course.
We got a new season of Survivor starting on Super Mario Brothers this Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And a new season.
What season is this? 500?
47. It's a 47 reference.
I think they've run out of numbers, so now they have to use letters as well, like hexadecimal.
No, did you hear me though? It's this 47 reference. Isn't that amazing?
Right. We don't care.
That's only funny when it irritates you, Dave. It's not funny.
It's not funny
when
when everybody else says it. Yeah, exactly. Poor Dave. He's trying really hard and it's not working.
Yeah.
But anyway,
all right.
He's like, I got it. Right. I got them finally.
I finally got them. I even got this joke in. Yeah.
Survivor. We'll be talking about Survivor 47 for the next 13 weeks. Every time
13 weeks.
Yeah, that's how long the season takes. And then a new season will start a couple weeks later after the Christmas break.
At this point, why do they even call them seasons?
They're
not even a season.
It's half a season, kind of, sort of thing. But
it's a quarterly season.
Hey, they pump out more stuff here than these Netflix shows do. I'll tell you that much. Like, you know, when Severance coming out, never, it feels like.
Well,
you know,
the one thing I will say to that though, Dave, is it's quantity versus quality in that scenario.
No, it's good quality. You don't even know. Jeff Probst still tell you got to dig when you get out there. You know, you got to leave it all on the line. You got to.
All right, can we go now?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Anyway, live long and podcast, everyone.
See you, everybody.
All right, take care.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.